Choosing the right arcade system isn't easy. It's going to be different for each person depending on what you're looking for, but two of the good options that are available are from TheArcadeGuys and from Game Room Solutions. TheArcadeGuys is going to be a plug-and-play system, so for those of you who are looking for something that you can just purchase, have it delivered, and then start playing, this is probably going to be your best option, at least out of these two. While the Game Room Solutions console is going to be something you need to assemble, like IKEA furniture, and more than likely you will need to purchase items separately from this kit. But having done all of that, which one is a better deal, which one is better built, and which one should you choose? Starting off with TheArcadeGuys, this cabinet is going to be a little bit smaller than what you get from Game Room Solutions. Besides the fact that this is a 32-inch model and I'm currently having a 43-inch model for the Game Room Solutions, TheArcadeGuys design is just going to be a little less deep than the Game Room Solutions version, as well as it being a little bit taller and the controls being a little bit higher. While both of them obviously look like an arcade cabinet, the TheArcadeGuys version does look a little bit more retro, and this is the retro design from the TheArcadeGuys, which is basically the only one they sell nowadays. And one of the things that I really like about it is that all the lines are pretty much smooth. There aren't really any harsh edges to anything. So if you look on the sides, you look underneath, there aren't really any sharp, flat edges. There's no corners. There's nothing that's really going to be in the way of this being like in your living room or wherever, which is kind of different than what you get from Game Room Solutions. Especially the way that the controls deck kind of protrudes out from the screen. And that's just a box really sitting on top, and the box has edges. And so there are going to be more points, more corners to the whole design. And sticking to the plug-and-play nature of the TheArcadeGuys, pretty much all the controls that you will need to interact with are available to you at any time. Do you want to turn the console portion off? The button is underneath the controls. Want to adjust the volume or change the tone of the sound? That's also right there too. Want to change the brightness, the color, or just anything about the marquee lights? That's also available with a controller. Compare that to the Game Room Solutions, and if you want to turn the console on and off, you have to unplug it. You can mod it like I did with a button, but you have to unplug it to turn it on and off. Want to change the volume? You have to open up the controls and turn the knob when the controls are up. You can mod it like I did, so at least you can turn the volume on and off, so you can turn off like the speaker hiss when you're not going to be using it. But yeah, not easily accessible. Same thing for the marquee lights. Those are either on or off, and that's controlled by you unplugging them. You can get around the volume controls by running everything through the TV. That way you can just increase or decrease the volume through the TV controls, but that's not going to be the most elegant solution, and it's not as high quality as using it with a physical knob. And due to the design of the TheArcadeGuys cabinet, everything is protected by T-molding, so there aren't any areas that are going to get worn down over time or chipped because they're not really protected. On the other hand, Game Room Solutions, there were a lot of spaces around the controls that didn't have any T-molding, and I had to install some myself, which is not something that they provide. But that doesn't necessarily mean the cabinet design from Game Room Solutions is worse. For one thing, the bulkier design means that it is a very steady device. When you're playing on the controls, the machine doesn't move. Where if you're pretty rough with your controls on the TheArcadeGuys, the whole cabinet can rock. Also, since you built the Game Room Solutions cabinet, you also know how to assemble it and do any repairs, where for the TheArcadeGuys, even simple repair work would require you to disassemble something on the arcade. And it doesn't really help that the TheArcadeGuys back panel is made of one piece of wood, so if you want to do any work in behind the cabinet, you need to take that whole piece out, where the Game Room Solutions option is made of 3 different panel pieces, so you can just remove one instead of having to remove the whole thing. It's also worth noting that the Game Room Solutions design covers the entire back panel, so if you are going to showcase the back of the machine at any point, like you're going to have the machine in the middle of the room, the Game Room Solution option will look better because the ArcadeGuys one doesn't actually go all the way to the floor. Another win for the Game Room Solutions design is that it includes a panel to cover the TV so it looks like, a complete arcade instead of a TV mounted in a cabinet shaped like an arcade cabinet. It's not a big issue, and I guess technically you could probably add something in front of the ArcadeGuys design in order to get the same sort of effect, but there aren't really cuts in the design to do that. Another thing that's great about the Game Room Solutions design is that it's modular, meaning that you could replace anything you don't like, as well as you can repair anything that breaks pretty easily. So like in my case, when I had a broken section of the cabinet, when I ordered it, they were able to replace it and make a new one, and it fit just fine. For the ArcadeGuys, I don't think that's going to be quite as easy since, especially on the side pieces, they're one continuous big piece, and that would be pretty expensive to ship that across the country. And that also means that you can upgrade anything very easily. So you can upgrade most things inside the ArcadeGuys machine, right? So I'm not saying that you can't. For instance, they screwed down the hinges everywhere so that none of the hinges actually move anymore. So it's just a little bit more of a pain to do all these things. But with Game Room Solutions, it's pretty easy, and I was able to switch out the buttons and change the button layouts and all that without having to use a screwdriver at all. And since it's a DIY kit, they're expecting you to use any number of TVs of an approximate size. So it's easy for you to go out and buy whatever kind of TV is the best for whatever you're actually looking to do. So if you want the cheapest TV possible, you can do that. But if you're looking for something that's, 4K, 120 Hertz or 240 Hertz or something like this, OLED, you can do that with Game Room Solutions very easily. With the ArcadeGuys, at least you're paying for, in this case, a 720p TV, or the 43-inch version, that's a 1080p TV, which is not going to look quite as nice in person, especially compared to all the available options that you could buy yourself. With all that being said, though, there is space in the market for both of these arcade cabinets to exist. Once you're playing the game, you kind of forget about all these other things, and you're just playing on an arcade. Both speakers sound pretty good. Maybe the ArcadeGuys ones is a slightly higher quality, but there is more separation due to the smaller size on the Game Room Solutions option, so they both sound great. And really, this is going to come down to whether or not you want to invest any time once you buy your cabinet to making your cabinet exactly what you want. If that's you, then you'll probably be happier with Game Room Solutions, since that's what it's there for, to make it the exact cabinet that you're looking for. But if you are looking for something, just have fun with your family and buy it, and it'll be furniture and it'll just be there forever and you don't need to think about it, ArcadeGuys is a great option.